Well, hi, welcome to Cancer Joy Club podcast, my fears, warriors, and joy seekers. Today, we're diving into a deeply personal and powerful story, one that hits close to home for many of us. It's about the day everything changes when your life suddenly splits into the before and after. But you know us, we're going to find the joy even in the middle of that storm. So buckle up because my guest today is the one and only Rebeccah Silence. She's a cancer survivor, an emotional healing guru, and real life superhero. Rebeccah Silence is a renowned emotional healing and relationship coach, cancer survivor, motivational speaker, and the creator of the Healing is Possible movement. After being diagnosed with stage 3 cancer while pregnant, yes, you heard that right, she faced death in the eye and chose life. She's been featured on ABC, Fox, USA Today, and she's the author of Coming Back to Life. She's also the host of the Tougher Together Breakthrough podcast and founder of Inspired Results. Let's get raw, real, and resilient and welcome the magical, the mighty Rebeccah Silence. Hi, Rebeccah.
Hi, Grace. We are together, and I'm so excited for this life changing conversation.
Me too, because your story is so powerful and it can help a lot of people who are watching right now. Definitely. So let's start from the very beginning. Okay. I call this segment, let me get it up, the moment I knew. The shock of the diagnosis, which we all get, right? We all get that shock. But for you, it was double the shock because you were pregnant. So can you take us back to that moment when you discovered that something was wrong?
Yeah, I think I knew something was wrong, but the moment I was in my office coaching a couple, a plastic surgeon and his wife, and they said, Rebecca, you have saved our family, you have saved our marriage, and this mole on your arm, something's wrong. We have to have you come into the clinic tomorrow at 7 a.m. and let us take that mole and biopsy it. And I thought, well, I have no family history of cancer. Heart
Right.
disease, mental illness, addiction, yes.
Yeah,
Or no.
nothing.
So I thought, okay, ignorantly, well, even if it's skin cancer, I have no family history. They'll just cut it off. I'll be okay. Well, I went to the clinic, 7 a.m. the next day. They took the mole. Less than a week later, I got a phone call, come in, and I knew the moment I walked in, looking at the receptionist's face. And I also
Mhm.
coached her daughter. I coached the entire community. I knew, okay. And I was by myself. I never go to a cancer appointment alone ever since.
I don't blame you. It's
Right.
terrifying when you're alone. I know. It's just like, oh, yeah.
And then this client sat me down and he's like, okay, it's malignant. Like, this is very serious. This is very real. And he said, I'm going to pull out all the stops. I'm going to utilize my network and my contacts to expedite getting you into the specialist, to expedite, they call it with melanoma, a wide excision. They cut from my shoulder down to my elbow, all the way to the bone, removed all these margins. And when you're pregnant with cancer, you can't get staged until the baby is out
Why is that?
because they are injecting radioactive dye into your
That's
system that
right.
could harm the baby. And with melanoma, I mean, this was 10 years ago, 2015. They had just mandated testing lymph nodes. It wasn't even mandatory until months leading up to when I actually found out I had a cancer diagnosis. So at 38 weeks pregnant, they took the baby out, C-section, emergency C-section. And 3 weeks after that, they were able to test my lymph nodes, stage me. Baby was perfect. Baby was fine. And what a miracle to have not had to wait 3 months, knowing how aggressive. I had the most aggressive malignant melanoma, which could have spread to the placenta, which could have spread to the baby. She's fine. She's 10,
Oh,
thriving.
well,
So that was the first miracle. And then they told me at the time where I had the original surgery, 95% chance I'd be fine. That would be it. The lymph node testing would be preventative. Well, there was cancer in the lymph node. So thank God they tested. And so I went from,
yes.
the first surgery, 3 months later, C-section, 3 weeks later, they found cancer in my lymph nodes. 2 weeks later, took all the lymph nodes, and then it was just a series of surgeries after that. So I had 22 surgeries. I'm covered in scars and so grateful to be alive.
Wow, that is insane. 22. You had 22 like spots on your skin?
Yes, yes. Yeah.
I mean,
In
that
my
cancer,
vagina, they did 2 excisions in my vagina. Like they put
like
me
everywhere.
everywhere. They put me under a black light and a magnifying glass every 3 months still. And if they start to see something precancerous, suspicious, they
Like, bye. Yeah. I've been going to the dermatologist every 6 months. I
yeah,
had breast cancer, but I'm in the sun, even though I'm covered and lathered up with zinc, because I teach swimming. I definitely could, you never know. So I go every 6 months. And like you said, anything, even if it's not precancerous, I'm like, nuke it, kill it.
right. And I
Yeah.
do not tan. Like it made no sense. No family history. I am not in the sun.
No.
I'm
Hmm.
a very pale,
Yeah.
white person, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a spiritual gift in a lot of ways. And I
Yeah.
just think really for me, cancer was for my soul's evolution. Like nothing else makes sense.
Totally. I agree.
Yeah.
Because it awakens you. It awakened me. I don't know about you, but I'm sure it's the same level of awakening that, I mean, I'm also like learning how to heal myself now. That's like how you open up almost to your higher self,
Amen, Grace.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like because you feel like, oh, this body is like a meat suit. Oh my God, like 22 surgeries. I lost my breast. It's like, wow, this body, dude, it's like it just goes to shit at any moment. So why focus on the body? Our society focuses on the body so much, and it's so harmful because when people develop, I think, a lot of mental disorders and dysmorphias because of this programming that the body is it, but it's not. That's not it. Actually, it's an illusion.
Well, it's so interesting. One of the biggest pieces of feedback I get from my award winning book that I wrote after all this, Coming Back to Life, is about my chapter on the body. Because and Coming Back to Life originally was called I'm Not Too Fat Unless I Look in the Mirror. Because my relationship with my body before cancer was a freaking journey. I'm an incest
Yeah.
survivor. My first marriage was domestic violence. My body has been through it. And what I realized is I'll never forget this one day, Grace. I'm driving down the road, very pregnant. Now I know I have cancer. I'm waiting for the baby to be born. And I remember thinking, why on earth would I be mad at my body when right now my body's keeping me and this baby alive? I
Yes.
do not get to blame my body, insult my body more. My
No.
body has been where I get the messages from. Like it's a spiritual
Yes.
journey, cancer. And there's so
Absolutely.
much, right? Emotional cancer we have control over, but your body's going to give you the information. I led my cancer journey. I didn't listen to the statistics. I didn't listen to the doctor's expertise over mine. And without my body, I wouldn't have been able to hear the messages.
Oh, 100%. I know it's so crazy because, if you look at it pre-cancer, it's like, oh no, I'd rather stay non-spiritual. I'd rather like not meet my higher self that often. Let me stay in the ego. It's so comfy. But in the long run, staying in your higher self brings you so much peace and joy and enlightenment, which is crazy. The enlightenment
Absolutely.
is just boom, out of this world. If you listen, like you said, and your body will tell you, if I feel like, I don't know about you, but I feel like my cancer, because it's close to the heart and the breast is nutrition, it actually happened after I hit rock bottom in the love department, not just an ex-spouse, but my mom passed away. A relative was going kind of like rogue crazy, and it was just, I felt very alone and not loved, and I think all that trauma went to my breast. And when they took my breast out after the surgery, I felt like the things that triggered me before the surgery, all that trauma, all that triggering, was not there anymore.
Priorities shift.
Oh my goodness, yes, yes. What do you think? Do you think there was a message in the fact that you got this on your skin? Maybe the domestic abuse?
It's super interesting because the way I look at cancer is spiritual, as we've discussed. And then again, there's so much emotional cancer that we
Ugh,
have control over, not inviting, not tolerating, not being in agreement with or putting up with, right?
yeah.
And I think, I never called cancer my cancer ever. I had
Aha.
a diagnosis I never identified as cancer or sick or dying, and they gave me a 5 to 10% chance to live once they found the cancer in my lymph nodes. And I was 34 at the time of being
Jeez.
diagnosed. And I
Wow.
was so healthy. I hadn't been sick for years. And then,
Wow.
with all that being said, I don't think I caused the cancer. I don't think I cured it. But I think
Right.
I had a lot to do with the emotional heart work that I did have control over. And I've had
Yeah.
6 different rapists. I've had a lot go on with my body on my skin. And
Yeah.
so I definitely think that there was a part of my spiritual journey that had to transform my relationship with my body, that had to transform the way I was loving me. And before cancer, I was super achievement focused. And it was almost like I was trying to earn the right to take up space.
Yes.
And it was very much like proving energy that I was living in and day out. And it was never enough, however much
Yeah.
I accomplished, however much I succeeded. And so for me, for sure, there was something about my skin and my relationship to my body. But it was also very clear to me once the cancer journey began that I had done so much healing. I had already next leveled my identity on a lot of levels and
Nice.
become a Rebecca I was proud of, but I was still so achievement focused. So for me, cancer was this opportunity. I'll never forget God like whispering in my ear, literally, Grace, and saying, okay, who are you going to be now? It's easy to be the best of you when you have a thriving business, a great next marriage, a healthy kid, you're pregnant again, you're a pillar of your community. Who are you going to be now? I think life goes our way and then life doesn't. And that has nothing to do with us. I think it's just life being life. And then we
Absolutely.
decide who we're going to be. And so for me with cancer, I got to decide who I was going to be. And
Yeah.
for all of you gorgeous listeners, you're not a statistic and you get to decide who you're going to be. And I highly freaking recommend you do not identify as cancer or as sick or dying, regardless of what
Never.
you
Yeah. Never. Never. All through my cancer journey, I was like, I'm going through a tunnel right now. I see the light at the end of the tunnel. I'm walking towards the light. And I kept saying, I'm perfectly healthy. I'm perfectly healthy. Even though my body was going through hell with the treatment, I was like, I'm fine. I'm perfectly healthy. I am perfectly healed. So the messages that we send to our body, cells have memory and intelligence. So we can program ourselves. We have that power. So, like you said, we choose what route to take, what timeline to go to. Do I become the victim of this cancer? Or do I become the overcomer and the thriver of this cancer?
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and you chose being a thriver.
I chose to live because
Yes.
I'm either going to commit in a way where I'm living to die and listening to what they're telling me. They were saying to my husband, to me, we have to plan your funeral. Like you need to get ready. Like it was that aggressive and it was that life threatening. And, I'm like, I can live like I'm going to live, or I can live like I'm dying. And
Yeah.
I burned the option of I'm going to die, very aware that I
Yes.
could. And so I thought about the movie, The Neverending Story, every single day. There's this scene in that movie, this hero is trying to save the world, and he has this horse. And in one scene, they have a journey where they're walking through the swamps of sadness, and it's quicksand. And to get through the swamps of sadness, you can't let the sadness win. And the real bitch of it for me was I was like, wanting to die as much as I wanted to live, if I'm really honest, it hurt. I was in so
Mhm.
much pain, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And I really wanted to give up as much as I wanted to live. But this commitment to life, it kept me going. And I
Yeah.
lived like I was
I
going
agree.
to live. And I made sure my choices were in the direction of life. And I've
Of
counted
life.
coached countless clients through cancer since going through it myself. And it seems like this commitment to life is the biggest gift you can give yourself. And to know nobody can take away how real you are, how powerful you are. Your spirit is so much stronger and so much more resilient than cancer. And cancer is a part of our journey, and we can get spiritual lessons from it. But I highly encourage all of you to live like you're going to live and to burn the option of dying with all the awareness in the world. This is not me being toxic positivity princess. Yeah, you
No,
can,
not at all.
but
No.
it's bigger than you. And you don't get to say, right? And then there's a text, a spiritual text, A Course in Miracles, that has my favorite quote. And it is, nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. Herein lies the peace of God. And I was like, listen, there's nothing more real than my spirit. And so I'm going to give it to spirit, to God. And no, I may or may not live, but I'm going to live like I'm going to live.
Absolutely.
There's power there.
Well, we're going to go at some point, so but I understand, not the toxic positivity, because some people can confuse, the attitudes that we have as toxic positivity, but it's not. I'm sure you faced yourself in the mirror and cried several times. Like when I was bald and looked like death, I was crying, and I let that, go and just let it flow, and then went back to, I want to live. I'm going to do everything that I need to do to just overcome this. And it's not all toxic positivity, you also get acquainted with the fact that you can die. And so I became very comfortable with the fact that, hey, I'm going to die, and it's okay, whether it's now or whether it's 20 years down the road or 40 years down the road. I'm okay with it. I watched lots of NDE, experiences that people had, and I came to my own conclusion of, what death is. It's basically going from one dimension to another dimension. That's all it is. And so I am not scared anymore. So that's not toxic positivity, because we had to face the quote unquote negative and the death, the possibility of dying. And that's not toxic positivity. That's being real and choosing from that to say, hey, I'm going to live, and I'm going to live like every day, like it's my last day.
Yeah. And, I also just want to point out here for everyone, you don't need breakdown to break through.
Right. Yeah.
You don't need to wait for a crisis.
Yeah.
To freaking live your life. So if you can hear this show today and you can hear that message and run with it, it gives me chills. I just feel like I have to say,
yes,
you don't need to wait for life to get worse or force your hand to choose to fully live. Just choose it now.
Absolutely, 100%. So let's go to facing the unknown. The medical system is complicated, and on top of us going through the trauma of our bodies being attacked by the treatment, we also have to navigate this crazy health system. So how did you navigate the overwhelm of this medical system?
Oh my gosh. I mean, I felt like, this diagnosis and this moment in my life gave me full permission. All bets are off to be fully who I am. And I knew I would have to be in charge. And I had done so much healing work. I had done so much work on leadership and empowered leadership. And I knew the healed me was in charge of the mission called my life. This wasn't for me an opportunity to heal what I hadn't healed yet from childhood. I remember thinking one day lying in bed, because I was in bed for a year, surgery after surgery.
Wow.
I had massive breast infection because where my lymph nodes were taken out, I was breastfeeding.
Oh.
And nobody thought to think, oh, she's going to get mastitis because now she doesn't have lymph nodes to drain her system. So I have like tubes coming out of me. I'm, covered in scars, infections, all of it. And I remember thinking, I'm waiting for this to feel like my childhood abuse, and it doesn't. How fascinating is that, right?
Right.
Healed me was in charge. And I had, just like we all do in life, all of this information coming at me, all of these opinions, everybody telling me what to do, telling me the statistics again, right? And I just remember thinking, okay, Rebeccah, and I'm the emotional healing coach. the only thing to do is to be as emotionally clear as possible, right? Like a clean glass of water, so I can hear my own voice and divine guidance.
Yes.
Just knew, like, I have to get me out of the way, and I have to let the guidance come through, and I have to trust that more than anything. And my life really became this co-creation with God. And so I remember having to say to my team, I mean, one of the biggest moments was I quit chemo against medical advice because it was killing me.
Yeah.
And everyone was terrified. My husband, my family, my community. You know, I had been on the radio for years, a number one radio show in my community, and the whole community was rallying around me during this time. And they were playing best of episodes of my radio show for a year, keeping me on the air. And, you know, everybody had opinions.
Of
Everybody.
course. Of
And
course.
I just knew if I keep going with the chemo, that's what's going to kill me. And
Absolutely.
a lot of muscle testing. And I knew it was time to quit chemo. And I remember having to say to my team, I would drive 4 hours to the hospital in Buffalo, New York, to
Wow.
meet with my medical team. And I remember they were so mad at me because I quit the chemo. I went into shock. I do not recommend this for anybody else, to be clear. I recommend you find your answers. This was mine. But I remember having to say to my team, Grace, you're either fired or you get on board because
Yeah.
I'm done with chemo and I don't need it anymore. Like, we've gotten it all. It's not in my blood anymore. I know it. I'm muscle testing. I'm trusting myself. And I had done a very unconventional treatment approach. I had a different holistic healer assigned to my bed 7 days a week. I had
Wow.
a Reiki master, a chiropractor, a
Wow.
craniosacral therapist, a massage therapist, a yoga therapist. I had an acupuncturist. I had someone assigned to my bed 7 days a week. And I trusted myself to know. And my husband would say, babe, what of these practitioners is helping? Like, how do you even know what's working? And I was like, do we care? Because it's working. But this one day I had to say to my medical team, you're either fired or you get on board. I'd already quit the chemo. And it was this stalemate moment. And ultimately they said, okay, you know, if this is the choice you're making, we want to continue to care for you. And I'm like, well, chemo is no longer an option. I'm done. I'm done.
Yes. And we want to, before we continue, we want to definitely let people know that every journey is different.
Yes.
And you don't have to say, like, Rebecca, I don't want any more chemo. She did it on her own terms, on her own research of why she did it. And always consult your doctor and always consult your feelings. How do you feel about things? And
your guidance.
And your guidance, absolutely. And also, you know, try alternative methods in the sense that see, you know, to test how you're doing, I would say. I would not have quit, you know, the chemo was kind of killing me in a way, but I decided to go through the whole treatment and radiation and everything. But breast cancer is different than melanoma. It's a whole different ballgame. Even though it was stage 3 like you, it's different because, you know, you had it all over your body. So I can't even imagine the pain that you went through and the trauma that it's in your whole body. The skin is the largest organ in the body.
But I will say, Grace, that the 4.5 months of chemo I did do, I know saved my life. I did
Yes,
a combo approach, and I wouldn't be alive without the chemo I did.
totally. I
Right?
agree.
So I love what you're saying. You've got to trust yourself, trust your guidance, listen to the doctors, not giving them all of your power to
Not
make
at all.
decisions for you, but take all the information and
Yeah.
then trust yourself to know what's right. I think that's the
Absolutely.
message here.
And you knew it wasn't right for you anymore and that you were going to die if you continued. I've
My
had
body was shutting down. Like,
absolutely no, I get it. Oh, chemo is
I
terrifying.
lost my right leg. All the nerves down my right leg died, and I had dropped.
No,
And so then they were like, well, even if you live, you're going to be on disability for the rest of your life. You're never going to be able to walk again. I hike mountains. I live in Boulder, Colorado.
yeah,
Like, you know, it's such a wild journey. But
no, it's crazy.
and
Absolutely,
all the information, take it in and consider it.
absolutely, 100%. There was a new medication that had come out for the HER2 positive because I was triple positive, and the HER2, and it was giving me such problems with my digestive system that I told the doctor, I think if I continue this medication, I'm going to have some kind of colon problem. And so, she says, well, it's your body, your choice. So I said, I choose not to take it. And something in me, like you said, Rebecca, something in me was like, this is not right. My body was telling me, it was like, listen, girl, no, we did chemo. That was okay ish. But we're not doing this. And so that was my cells talking to me. And I chose not to. And a year later, that new medication, which was, by the way, $12,000 a month, yeah, insane, was actually proven to actually harm you more than heal you. So
And
listen to your body.
got taken off the market because it was way too deadly.
Oh, it was awful. Right. So listen to your body, listen to your intuition, and listen to your guides. What you believe in God, you believe in Allah, and whatever you believe in, just listen to that voice inside yourself. That's your higher self that's connected to the all that is, or God, or whatever you want to call it. So that's my 2 cents on spirituality. So before we go into the next segment, I'm going to run a little promo for my book, Get This Off My Chest. So you guys will be right back after this little video. Enjoy it. Life hit me with a storm I never saw coming. Stage 3 breast cancer. But let me tell you something. When the storm passes, something beautiful can emerge. I know because I lived it. Get This Off My Chest is my story of transformation. It's about finding peace, joy, and positivity in the middle of the hardest battle of my life. This book is for anyone who's ever felt overwhelmed by life's challenges, especially when it comes to your health. It's not just another cancer memoir. It's a guide to reclaiming your life, your joy, and your power. When I was going through cancer treatment, I made a choice to laugh through the chaos, to surround myself with love, and to embrace every single day with gratitude. I want to share that with you. Get This Off My Chest is about shifting your mindset, flipping the script, and learning to find light in the darkest moments. Because I believe that transformation is beautiful, and every challenge, no matter how hard, is an opportunity to rediscover yourself. So whether you're fighting your own battle or supporting someone you love, this book is for you. It's for the warriors, the survivors, and anyone ready to live life with joy, strength, and a whole lot of humor. Get your copy of Get This Off My Chest. It's available on my online shop, www.thestateofgraceshop.com. Your journey to healing starts now. All right. That was my 2 cents. So we're going to go to segment 3, what I call the roller coaster of emotions. So let's talk about treatment. What was your plan and how did it affect you mentally and physically? Like when you started chemo, how did it affect you?
What affected me the most was it meant I wouldn't be able to breastfeed the baby. And I didn't get really the whole first year of the baby's life with her. Her name is Seneca. And that was devastating. I would have to have people bring her to me, but I couldn't even hold her because I had so many surgeries on my arms. So knowing that chemo meant I wouldn't be able to breastfeed, knowing I may or may not ever get time with the baby was, I think, the hardest part of it. And, it's one of those things where, at least for me, it was a blessing to not really be able to predict how chemo was going to affect me. I'm a very good student. I'm very good at what are my marching orders? Let me just do what needs to be done. So I would just show up every day for the infusions. And, I really did take a one day at a time approach. And for me, I'm the emotional healing coach. I teach there's only 5 emotions. Everything else is our feelings about what's going on and how we learn to cope. So anger, fear, grief, joy, excitement.
Mm,
Fear, grief, joy, excitement. I would scream when I needed to scream,
mm-hmm.
I needed to cry, shake when I needed to shake, laugh when I could, and even getting chemo infusions. I would just be with my emotions and know like that's the one thing I have control over. And then I really got good. The other massive way chemo impacted me was I had suicidal ideation, which was a
Oh,
side
wow.
had me on. And I had been suicidal and clinically depressed and almost hospitalized
Yeah.
in my 20s and my teens. Like I knew what that felt like. And I knew when it was coming from me, not my highest self, my survival self. And this was different. I knew like these are chemicals and I can't buy what they're selling me.
Yeah.
And so it was a wild ride to have this like full on commitment to life. And then I had these voices in my head trying to convince me to just give up simultaneously. So I would just focus on the emotions and my commitment to life. And not only did I have a holistic healer assigned to my bed every day, I had a support person from my inner circle
Yeah.
assigned to every day of the week. Like for Monday, I had someone, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, etc. So
Beautiful.
I had someone checking in with me every single day, and I let them know I may or may not answer the phone because I may not be able to, or willing to, or interested in talking. But because I was really in like a cancer coma for a year, but just knowing like people were there checking on me was really, really important and really helpful as well.
Absolutely. You don't feel so alone in this journey when you have people supporting you. So how did your emotions evolve throughout your journey?
I mean, this is the time in my life where I understood what I had been trying to teach for years prior. And I really recognized joy and excitement get to be the rule I live by, not the exception. And I can be the best of me even now. And I just remember thinking, if I can master the art of being emotionally clear and the best of me, and trusting myself and trusting God in this moment, nothing will ever be able to threaten me ever again. And this is
Absolutely.
what happened. I became someone I know, I love, I trust, and I'm safe with. And for me, and find whatever it is for you, source, universe, whatever it is that makes the sun rise and set. I'm not going to tell you what it is for you. But for me, it was God. And I was like, yeah, my whole life is going to be a co creation with God from here on out.
Yeah,
What a miracle. And that's what it's been.
absolutely. And we are such magical, powerful beings. And quantum physics actually corroborates the fact that we can create our own reality. We can jump into the timeline that's for our highest good. We can actually choose the timeline that we're living in. There's billions of timelines, of possibilities, of outcomes
Yeah.
every second of your life. So, yeah, we are definitely co creators with all that is, or the quantum field in scientific terms, right? This is a good segue for the next segment, which is finding hope and healing. What role did self care play in your recovery?
I mean, I, before cancer, didn't have time to go to the doctor, didn't have time to deal with anything. I haven't shared this part of the journey yet. That's wild. My primary care doctor, 3 or 4 years prior to my diagnosis, I had said, this is a black mole on my arm. Can I get a referral to a dermatologist? And he said, no, I'm not going to refer you. And my thought process was, well, great, because I don't have time for that anyway.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's me too, pre cancer.
Oh my God, I get chills just remember. And
Yeah.
I have a lot of thoughts about this dude, but at the
Yes.
same time, it's a reflection of my consciousness at the time. I didn't have time
Yeah.
for it. I knew
Yeah.
I didn't have time for it. I was like, well, check the box, went to the
Totally.
doctor, got looked at, asked for the referral in a weird, screwed up way. I got the answer I wanted, went on with my
You did.
life, right? And so, for me, self-care before cancer didn't even exist. I was working 7 days a week, coaching 10 clients a day on
Crazy.
the hour with no breaks, with no food. And I
Wow.
glorified it. I was like, I am making a difference. I get to
Yep.
matter. I found a way to be of value. And so, come cancer, now my life has evolved from, and this is my message for all of you, let yourself graduate from achievement paradigms to alignment paradigms, right?
Thank you.
I went from trying to fit in to I got to create a life that fits in with me. And I'll never forget the moment where I realized, holy shit, it actually worked. I'm going to make it. I was standing in my kitchen. It was raining outside in upstate New York, and I'm looking out the window, and I realized I was going to live. And I was so depressed and I was grieving. I wanted life to go back to what it
To
was.
what it was, right? But then it's like, that's kind of the unhealed overachiever paradigm
Well, and
that,
that was the mixed bag, right? Because I'm like,
yes,
wait a minute. All I want is to go back. And then actually, none of me wants to go back.
yeah,
But now there's like this blank canvas and all this space. And like, what am I going to do? So that was the moment I realized, okay, my job is to create a life that fits in with me and
yes,
to focus on alignment and to stay this aligned, because that was what cancer gave me the gift of, was like knowing what it felt like to be in alignment with my soul and God, and
yes,
there's nothing to figure out, and just let myself be shown. When I wrote my book, Coming Back to Life, a roadmap to heal from pain to create the life you want, I plugged in. I literally listened to Lil Wayne radio and would get a hotel room 3 days at a time, and I would just write and I just let it flow through. And that feeling is magic.
absolutely,
Just let it
absolutely.
flow through you.
And they can get your book at your website, rebeccahsilence.com, right?
Yep, or Amazon or anywhere books are sold. Coming Back to Life, it's one, best self-worth, best self-love. Shout out to my publisher, Health Communications Incorporated. You can get it anywhere books are sold, and it is a roadmap back to you. If you want more on all of what Grace and I are talking about, get both of our books, because
Yes,
it'll show you what we did that can help you find your way, because there's not a right or a wrong way to heal or live,
nope,
love or lead. There's what works for you. And I think that's the most important message from our conversation today, above all else, is like, let's
yes,
help you find your North Star, your direction, your way.
100%. And I think if we're aligned with our purpose, everything falls into place.
Right. And your purpose is living your life on your terms.
That is one of them. Yes,
Yeah,
loving.
right.
Absolutely. I say it's about loving and helping myself and others,
Yeah.
because we're all a reflection of each other. So if I love and help myself, I'm able to love and help you.
Absolutely. I have a tagline: the world needs you healed so you can make your difference, right?
Yes.
If you're in this community, if you're following Gorgeous Grace in this beautiful show, then you do have a difference to make. But I'm going to promise you right now, get selfish, live your life on your terms so you can actually make it. Because it also
Absolutely.
includes like the service work, right? Back to when I'm sharing with you, I was working 7 days a week, 10 clients a day for years, burning out.
Crazy.
Of course I got sick, right? Of
Yeah.
course I
Yeah.
did.
Your
Right?
immune system didn't have a chance.
Not a chance in
Not
hell.
a
I
chance.
wasn't taking care of myself at all, right?
Yeah.
But now I have my business set up to support me. I do what I want, when I want, how I want, so I can actually serve effectively.
Yes. And no is a full sentence. Period. Boundary.
Nothing to prove. And anybody that needs you how they need you, anybody that would want an unhealthy relationship with you, it's okay if they don't get access to you. If you want
Absolutely.
a relationship with me, you don't get access. And here's
Absolutely.
my definition of boundaries: there will honor, respect, and take care of you so
Yes.
you can serve.
100%. You got to take care of your energy. That's very important. And not everybody has access to that energy.
Right?
Yeah, because even as a performer, I always notice people always want to like grab your energy and like get like drain you almost. And a lot of people want that. And they're like, they message you every day and they want your energy. It's like, look, boundaries. Don't message me every day. You can message me once a week. I don't have that kind of time or energy to do that. So it's okay to do it in a loving way and in a kind way, but don't give access to everybody, guys, because people, a lot of them are vampires and they don't look like vampires, but they are.
Right. Right. And you get to decide. And again, you don't need some breakdown to give you permission to
Yeah.
actually say yes to you and say yes to others. And if
Yes.
it's not a double yes, it's a yes to me and it's a yes to you, it's a no or a not right now. And
Yeah.
that's all right. And if they can't handle it, that's good information. All you get from alignment is information that was already there. And if you can
Absolutely.
survive survival, if you can survive achievement paradigms trying to fit in, you can certainly survive alignment.
100%. And people are like, oh, it's selfish. No, it's not.
Well, and so what?
And so, yeah, exactly. It's selfish. Well, if I don't take care of me, who's going to take? Are you going to take care of me? No, certainly not.
Right.
So,
And it's selfish with a commitment to service.
yeah, yes,
That's
because we can service better when we also like sometimes I need to recharge. I'm sure that happens to you too. I go to the beach or
oh,
I
yes.
stay by myself. I just need that recharge to be able to, help other people. If not, it's just you're depleted of your energy and that doesn't serve you or the others. So, and let's go to segment, wait, number 5. Got the right one now. Moving forward, new life after cancer. So, how has melanoma changed your perspective on life and purpose? Just put it in a nutshell. I mean, you've talked about it, but like
Yeah.
if you had to put it in a sentence, how would you say it?
I cry tears of joy every day.
Oh,
I do. I think there's victim tears. I think there's grieving tears. And I
yes,
think there's tears of joy. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't cry tears of joy. I get
yes,
to meet beautiful people like you. I get to talk with beautiful communities like yours and this gorgeous audience. It'll make me cry right now. I am so honored to still be alive and to get to witness
yes,
people's greatness and to get to support them in coming back to life without breakdown. Or if you're
yes,
in the middle of a breakdown, we deal with it because nothing is more powerful than you. And so now, life after cancer, I do an emotional cancer cleanse constantly on myself. I process the emotions that need to be processed. And then I really look at I'm responsible for how I'm living, what I'm choosing, who I'm engaging with, where my energy goes. Is it healthy for me? And I
yeah,
have had to let go of relationships since cancer I never expected to. Best friends, mentors, but it wasn't healthy for me anymore. And I
yeah,
used to think as a relationship expert, that meant all my relationships needed to be good. Now,
mhm,
my job is to stay me.
yes.
Relationship mastery. So I stay me with so much love, with so much commitment to service. And I let myself experience the beauty and the magic of love and life. And that's why I cry tears of joy every day.
I love that. Just being alive is a gift. If we wake up breathing, I'm always waking up gratitude. Like thank you for my apartment. Like little things that you're like you take for granted. Thank you for my wonderful food that I'm able to buy. Thank you for the work that comes my way so I can live in this 3D reality. Like everything. I just think everything in my apartment. Like I bought these new like little lights that I put on the wall and I'm like, thank you, lights. I love you. Like I talk to objects like that because I'm so appreciative of even things, not just people, just things that are making my life better. So tears of joy, that's a beautiful thing. And Rebecca, you've shown us that cancer doesn't get the final say. We do. And
Right.
that even, yes, that even when it feels like the world is crashing down, healing is possible, joy is possible, and love is louder than fear. Your story reminds us that the darkest days can still hold the brightest sparks. So, you guys, if you're listening right now and you're in the thick of it, whether it's cancer, fear, or grief, please know that you're not alone. This community is here. Rebecca is here for you too, and her community. We see you, we honor you, and we're rooting for you. Take 1 minute, you guys, after this episode to check your skin, book a derm appointment, or send this podcast to someone you love, because knowledge is power and early detection saves lives. So, all right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Rebeccah, for your beautiful presence and your beautiful message. And you're going to be on my relationship coaching live.
Oh, you don't want to miss that episode. Yeah, it's going to be fire. And I just want to say one more thing.
Yes.
You
Yes.
signed up for the full human experience if you're in this audience and in this community. So we get to have the experience of joy, peace, finding beauty in any and all moments, including cancer.
Yes.
And that is so important to remember. You signed up for the full human experience. Let yourself have it and enjoy it. And thank you, Grace, for having me. And yeah, the relationship episode, you gotta hear that.
It's gonna be amazing. We're on the same, you and I are like on the same wavelength, on the same timeline in quantum physics.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Rebeccah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, share, and comment, and we'll see you next time. Have an amazing and beautiful day. When I got cancer, something woke up in me. I tapped into my self-healing powers. I started visualizing light moving through my body, and things began to shift. Oh, honey, I'm not special. You can do this too. Your body knows how to heal. You just have to listen. My book, The Golden Bridge, shares how I did it and how you can start. Let's heal.